All right, welcome to the latest episode of the Closer's Corner podcast. My name is Greg Simpson. I am your host, as always. And today I have Keandre in the house today. Going to talk to you guys a whole lot of crazy stuff. But before we get into Keandre being on the podcast, if you guys find value in today's podcast, you've been listening for a little bit, make sure you go, if you're watching us on YouTube, that you subscribe to us right below. Give us a like, give us a comment. It really helps the YouTube algorithm on that to help more people see it. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify or wherever you might be listening, give us a subscribe and a rating and review and all that good stuff because, again, the algorithms like that stuff. So, Keandre, welcome to Closer's Corner.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, man. So you have a pretty cool journey. I'm anxious to hear, anxious for you to tell your story for the listeners and watchers of the podcast. So, how long have you been doing this now?
I've been in real estate as a whole for about 5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, what was the driving force of you getting into real estate? And did you get your license first, or did you get into investments first?
So, I started in real estate. So I have some really cool people that I've met through my mom. And I was managing her portfolio, doing property management, and things like that. And just one day, she was just like, "Hey, we have a project where we want to renovate this mid-century home, and we want to have you do it. We want you to run the show." So I pretty much did that. Had contractors that I ended up meeting with, engineers, architects, and we ended up doing this really, really big project over in Sunset Park.
Okay.
Where I got to know a little bit of the construction game and some of the real estate game. And then I just went out on a whim and I went out and got my real estate license. And
you got the bug though. You caught the bug with doing that, didn't you?
Yeah. I did. It took me a month to get my real estate license.
Mm-hmm.
Studied nonstop, every single day. And then I went in, took the exam, passed the first time, and
nice.
then started working at an investment firm in Tampa. Through that investment firm, I kind of learned the ropes of investment real estate. Got to build up a pretty good Rolodex of people that I still work with today. So yeah, I'm thankful for that. It's been great. It's been an up and down journey, but it's been fun.
Yeah. So how long has it been since you had your license? Has it been about 5 years, or how long did that project take?
That project took 16 months.
Oh, okay. Yikes.
Yeah, it was a $350,000 renovation.
Oh, that's the one.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this house had a complete transformation. We ended up ripping out this giant brick wall that was load bearing. Coming to find out, there's a concrete beam in the roof, so we had to add an additional 5 beams to the house.
Holy
we
crap!
We already had one 30-foot beam going in, and then we had a 40-foot beam going in because my client, she wanted these 40-foot doors to open up the full length of the wall.
Okay.
So we had to do that. It was added cost.
I bet.
But we got it done.
Gosh.
We got it done.
Did they turn a profit? I'm hoping.
No. Well, this house, she bought this house for $350,000 back in the day, and she put $350 into it. This house is worth around 1.5 right now.
Okay. Oh, so she kept it. Yeah. Got it. Okay.
And it's also on one of the biggest lots in Sunset Park.
Okay.
So she's sitting on some pretty good equity.
I guess so. Yeah.
But this house is a mid-century, kind of has a Mad Men type of feel to it. Pool's in the middle of the house, all glass all throughout the center of the house, and
it's a party house for sure.
It's definitely a party house. It's a house for a single couple. So if you don't have any kids, this is the perfect house for you because it's a 1-bedroom, 4-bath, 2,800 square foot home.
Interesting. Okay.
But it's the ultimate party pad. I was fortunate enough for her to let me use that house for my 26th birthday.
Okay.
And it was quite the party.
When is 30 happening?
3 more years, man.
3 more.
Yeah, I just turned 27.
Okay.
Just turned 27th on the 20th.
You gotta blow it out there for the 3-0. Man, I can't believe I have 10 years on you. Holy shit.
Yeah, man. Time is moving.
I know, man. I know all too well at this point. All right, so you got hooked up with an investment brokerage here locally. What was that like working for that? Because obviously you see a lot of stuff on that side too.
Yeah. It was this company, a local company. They have around not a few, but they have 30-something offices around the nation.
Right.
But I worked with them for a couple years. Started off in Dispositions, selling a few properties. I sold my first house 6 days after getting my real estate license.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that was actually through a lead that I actually paid for a Craigslist ad.
Okay.
It's $5 for a week or two or something like that. And then I had some
I
investors.
didn't know you could pay for Craigslist ads.
I don't know if you can still do it now.
Okay.
But I did that, and like I paid like $5 to have like my ad on like one of the very first things
Gotcha.
that people saw.
Mm-hmm.
And I had these investors reach out to me. They were new investors in the area looking to get into the Tampa Bay market. And they reached out to me, and we ended up meeting. They told me what their criteria was, what they were looking for, what they were planning on doing. And we ended up going to a house that same day. They liked it. It was over in Temple Terrace. It was like a cool little 3-2 home. Didn't need too much work. It needed like $40K worth of work, cosmetics.
Okay.
And they ended up buying that and closed on it, got it done, and on about our days.
Awesome. So let's talk about that. Dispositions where it all should start, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. I think you probably got the email I sent out this week that was like, hey, checking in, because we started getting some more wholesale deals coming through, right? And I got about 80 people of my 5,000 that replied, and they started giving me criteria. So what do you start doing when you get their criteria?
You start looking for
We go shopping.
Yep.
So like now it's like, okay, some of them gave me very detailed criteria, and now it's just a matter of putting it together, right?
Yep.
And so I feel like a lot of wholesalers start off the wrong way, and they just like, let's go find a deal, and if we get a deal, the money and the investors will come.
Yeah. And
not as easy as you think.
Nope. And that's one thing that this investment firm, they taught me, like how to run the play.
Mm-hmm.
And I use that same formula in every single deal that I use, that I do today. Like I do the same, even though my business is a little bit more different just because I generate my own leads.
Yep.
And like I pay for my own leads, and I have different partnerships with other lead generation companies. It's a little bit different in that aspect because I'm actually the one talking to like the actual owners, and I'm getting to like know these owners and build up this rapport, and we deliver.
Yeah.
Like I don't pick up a home where I feel like either I can't buy it and fix it myself, or I can't sell it.
Right.
So if I can't sell it, if I can't do it myself, I'm not going to waste.
I think that's the big
difference
difference that we do here, and I'm not saying that we instill that in you. I think that's why we gel pretty well, is that I think too many wholesalers out there have no intention on ever closing on a deal, and it doesn't do anything but hurt the seller.
It does.
Because then I guess in a roundabout way, it hurts us, the actual buyers and the actual guys that can facilitate real deals, because we're offering them, $250 for the house, because we know at $250 we can close on it, we can buy it, we can renovate it, we can sell it or hold it as a rental. Those guys offering $275 to that same property, they're just hoping, praying that they find a buyer that will pay that ridiculous number, and then when they don't close, we're not getting that deal though. They're too embarrassed to come back to us. I mean, I don't know what your experience with that is. I have rarely had a seller come back and go, "Hey, Greg, we went with the wrong offer. We're sorry. We'll take your $250."
Yeah, and I've been in predicaments where I've been at other real estate companies where they always say that they're going to close on it, but then when push comes to shove, they never do, and then it makes me look bad because I'm the one who they're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
Like even though I'm representing this company, I'm the one that they're talking to face to face.
Yep.
So.
Oh, that's the biggest crux of being a wholesaler is like if your buyer, even if you think they are like rock solid, they pull out last minute, you're the one holding the bag.
Exactly.
Because you've told them the whole way, hey, I'm closing, we're closing. And then if the lender screws them or if they just bail for whatever reason, you got to have an extra strategy to pull that off. And that's probably been, I would say, one of my biggest, cruxes, I guess, in this business, because like I can close on everything, but I don't want to close on things if I don't have to.
Exactly.
And so like that's why for probably the last 3 years I've only wholesaled prior to like this month, like 2 or 3 deals.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather just be the buyer and just know that I can close, not have to leave the seller in the lurch.
Yeah. And like there's been like deals where like I've had investors like, how come you don't take this on yourself? And it's like, all right, is that a test?
Yeah, right?
All right, they're like, all right, I don't see your ARV. All right, let me buy this house. Let me do it. And all right, we set a market. Like we set a whole new market in South Tampa. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, from someone who sees the craziness going on in the market right now, as of the recording of this podcast, I don't want to be left holding the bag if something does switch here. That's my whole thought right now.
Well, man, I did that house over in South Tampa.
Yeah, let's talk about that one for sure.
Yeah, and that house took a year to do, and like I kind of just wish we would have just kept on it. Like we just would have held it, because I looked right now and I'm like, that house is worth like $550.
What'd you sell it for? $450?
Yeah, $450.
And how long has it been since you sold it? 7 months? 6 months?
6 months.
Jesus.
House just had everything brand new. Everything brand new.
All the way up to the trusses, man. I know
Yeah.
that was one of your big reasons that it took you forever.
Yeah.
And everyone's dealing with it right now too. I know
dealing with
Nelly
the
is too.
city, not surveys, supply chain issues. Like, it was a lot. And then
And
I
permitting,
had-
I'm sure, wasn't easy on that too, with
It
the
wasn't.
engineering and permitting for that.
It wasn't. It was
Man.
a lot dealing with the city. But
Yeah.
we got that project done. It took us exactly a year.
Yeah.
And we listed it on like the day we bought it.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Really, the whole 365.
Yep, full 365. Good thing is you didn't have to worry about short-term capital gains, so that was good.
I guess that's a good point. That's a good point. How did you guys get that deal in the first place, though? Was that like a direct seller to seller
No,
marketing?
so I actually ended up picking that deal up from another wholesaler who
Okay.
I've done plenty of deals with before. He's a good friend of mine. We go paintballing,
Okay.
and he ended up selling it to me, and I thought it was a pretty good deal at the time. I budgeted like 60 grand worth of like renovations, and like at the time, like that was a pretty good budget to stick to. And then the whole prices of wood just skyrocketed, and like that just ate into everything. And then we were like, man, if we're going to do it, we might as well fully do it. So we just were like, hey, we're gonna put all new everything in this house: new plumbing, new electric, new windows, new HVAC, new trusses, all new finishes. So we wanted to get top dollar, and that was the end game, was to get top dollar, especially for a product that we were putting out, because we put out some nice quality stuff.
Yeah, it was beautiful. You guys did a really good job with that. You guys turned a profit, obviously,
Yes.
on that deal. Let's talk about a loss. You had any losses on any of these deals yet?
I haven't had any losses.
Really?
I haven't had any losses yet.
Oh, it's coming, buddy.
Knock on wood.
I
I've
go ahead.
sold deals to investors where the only investor that I've known to have taken a loss on a deal was the very first people I sold a deal to. But that wasn't my fault. She was entangled with some guy who she trusted with the money, and he like embezzled funds.
Oh,
and
jeez.
She lost the house and got foreclosed on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bummer. Yeah,
But,
you
like,
can't control that shit.
The
man.
house was coming out beautiful, and then it just sat on the market. She priced it way too high.
Trying to make up for it, probably.
Trying to make up for it. And then she went to cash-only investors, where
Oh,
the house
she
is
got
probably
raped
worth.
then, I bet.
Yeah, the house is probably worth what she wanted it a few years ago. But
Ouch.
yeah.
Ouch.
But other than that, most of the deals that I've sold to investors, the houses have turned out beautiful and they sell pretty quickly.
That's good. So let's talk about some. You haven't had any losses, which I'm very jealous of. Luckily, mine have not been huge losses either. Mine have been more on the loss of time than the loss of money.
Yeah.
I think I've only lost money on one actual deal. It was like $1,500. Whoopty fucking do. And that was when we listed during COVID. Like COVID hit when we had
Yeah.
listed it. So that was a disaster. And then if we just held that one, it probably is worth $100,000 more too now. But like mine was more time, where like the project took forever
Yeah.
and just eats into your profit or eats into your psychological capabilities. Let's talk about some crazy shit that you've seen, because I know we've all seen on the investor side. That one you just posted a couple weeks ago just blew my mind.
Yeah, I ended up picking up 2 houses over in South St. Pete from this guy. I wouldn't classify him. He's a nice guy, but like he's definitely a slumlord. But he bought these houses for like dirt cheap. Like we're talking 10, 15 grand.
Yeah.
And like he was collecting $1,000 for one house, and then he was collecting $1,450 a year from the government from Section 8.
Jeez.
Paid off the houses, and one house was with an older lady in it, and she had like, it was a hoarder home. Found out that her husband died in the house, and she left him there for 3 weeks before she called the police.
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Rotting body inside the
You
house.
sent me that Instagram message, and I about fell out of my freaking chair,
man.
dude.
Like she was like, I walked into the house, and like there's like a giant mattress in the living room, like beer bottles, Coke bottles everywhere, just trash everywhere. She has cats, dogs, like everything. Like this house, like the smell is just so horrendous. Like it's so pungent. It's absolutely horrible. 2 bedrooms that she hasn't been into in like years. She didn't have a stove or a fridge for like 4 years. Like,
Oh my god.
and like the guy, he always said, "Yeah, we're gonna fix it. Yeah, we're gonna fix it," but he never fixed it. And like she was living in those conditions, and I was just like, I helped her find a place when we bought that
Okay.
house. And she had a payee who was paying her rent for like $700 a month. I got in contact with him. I was like, hey, there's like it's a trailer park, but like, yo, it's way nicer than this.
Yeah.
The living conditions are way better. 700 square feet. It's $400 a month.
Oh wow.
Like, something
Okay.
else park. I know, like, it's hard to find something like that people
That's
can
impressive.
afford.
Yeah.
So like, I ended up calling the landlord for that trailer park. I was like, hey, here's Richard. Here's the payee for this woman right here. See what you can do. Like, they got in touch. They were able to move her out and move on about their days.
Wow. That's gotta feel good, man.
I mean, sometimes it sucks. We just picked up a house at auction in Port Charlotte, and like, it's a similar situation. But like, it's not a hoarder house, but there's like, there's a mentally ill man living there, and like, his family members can't take care of him because they just don't have the space. So we got to try and see if we can do. I know that we're going to be doing like a cash for keys situation just to see if we can help him out a little bit, but it sucks, man. But
Yeah.
like, it's the name of the game.
It is the name of the game. So let's go back to the Hoarder House for a second. How does someone live like that and work? Did she work?
No.
Okay.
Nope, she wasn't working. She had a payee who was covering like her rent and everything. So
What does that mean?
when her husband died, he had a payee, and he was just like he like covered her expenses and everything.
Okay. Got it.
So like, her rent, she always gave her like a weekly check of like $90,
Jeez.
and like, she was getting food off of that.
And she was on she was on Section 8, or she was on government assistance, or
No,
no?
she just had a payee. Like,
Okay.
Her husband left her money, and then he left the money with someone who like kept in charge of the finances.
Boy.
But like, fortunately, he did that for her. But man, some of these houses that I walked into are just really, really fucked up.
Yeah, 100%. I've seen it, and I'm like, how does someone live in this house and go to work and not like smell to high heaven themselves? Or where do they work where they don't care?
Dude, man,
I don't know, man.
I've seen it all. Like, there's a duplex that I walked into in Lakeland, and like, you walk in, and like, they didn't have any subfloor. They're walking on straight dirt.
What?
Yeah, straight dirt. And then like,
Oh my God.
they're also getting like government assistance too. And he had a older brother who was in a wheelchair, and like, he was pushing his brother in dirt, man. Like, it made me so sad.
What the fuck, man?
Like, some of the living conditions that some of these people are like living through, I couldn't even fathom.
Yeah, man, I can't either. Like, I remember one that Heather went and looked at for me, and she took video, and I'm glad I wasn't the one that walked it. But literally, the entire floor was like this thick of dog shit. They just literally, and there's like dozen crates of dogs, or like dog crates in this house. And she's like, I walked in and I walked right the fuck back out. But she took a
Like
video.
dog fighting ring.
Oh, I don't know, man. It was, yeah, it might have been, but it was like, we obviously passed on that deal because the wholesaler didn't even know. It was one of those virtual wholesalers that had never seen the property and overpaid for. It was on a busy street and whatever. But then I remember walking in one that Steve, God, he sent me one in South Tampa. I kind of regret not buying this house, but it was the same thing. I walked in, Hoarder House, shit everywhere. Walked in and did 360 or 180, walked right back out. It's like, nope, not my house, not my deal. But we do see it all, man. Are those two deals like the craziest things you've seen?
Not the craziest. I mean, dude, you see it. You see a lot. Like, you walk into like crack houses and you see needles and you see like syringes all over the place.
Yep.
Used condoms. Like,
yep.
It's nasty.
It is nasty.
It's nasty.
That's the side of that stuff that the HGTV shows don't like to show too much.
Nope.
But the thing is, like, that's more often than it's not.
But man, like, I drive through some of these neighborhoods. I'm like, I remember that house. That house used to be a crack house. That house used to be a hoarder house.
And that's the thing is, like, investors get a bad rap in a lot of ways, and I think it's such bullshit that we get a bad rap because you guys lowball us for houses and this, and I was like, well, yeah, but we're also changing the neighborhood. We're fixing this place up so it's not a freaking complete shit bag all the time.
But then you also have like people who talk about like gentrification, and then like the prices of their taxes are going up, so then they can't afford to live in the neighborhood. So,
I understand that too.
Like, there's a double-edged sword with it.
Yeah, that's true, 100%. But what are you gonna do? I mean, it's like, would you rather
money to be made?
Yeah, it's the tough part about being a capitalist and also caring about people sometimes, because like, we got to eat too. We got to make money, and if we're not going to do it, somebody else is going to do it.
Exactly.
Or no one's going to do it, and then the house or the neighborhood is still shit forever.
Yep, and I just want to be the first one to do it.
Normally,
I'm my bid before theirs.
Yeah. Normally, I'm the one that sets the market in the neighborhood. Unfortunately, so I'm usually the one that doesn't get the huge benefit of the bump. But whatever. I digress. So you've been in real estate as an agent for 4 or 5 years now. Is there something that you would tell someone getting into real estate, either as an agent or an investor, that would kind of help them, either get themselves going or like maybe even take it to the next level?
I always like to say, your network is your net worth. So put yourself in front of many different people. Always go and introduce yourself no matter what. There was a time where I used to dress up in a suit almost every single day.
Really?
Yeah. Almost every single day. And I'm a sharp dresser.
Yeah, you are a sharp guy. You do have some good style, man.
People see me in the store. They'll see me at the car wash or something. They're like, "Hey man, what do you do?" Hey, I work in real estate. I'm trying to get into real estate. I have cash. And I'll just end up sparking relationships that way. And my partner now, Steve, I met him at a house where, he lives up in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And he had this house over in St. Pete where he was looking about selling because he didn't finish it in enough time. So I was like, man, I can just go in here and finish this house up for you. I have a construction crew. We can just go in, knock it out in a month. And we ended up doing that and selling that house over in Shore Acres. And we just ended up having a really good relationship. And now we just do a whole bunch of houses together.
There you go.
So always go out, talk to people, meet people. And another thing that's very big is working on your credit, having good credit.
Okay.
Having good credit. Having good credit is everything.
It is that. Explain that why. Because we're told as real estate investors, you go get hard money. You don't need credit. Bullshit.
No.
You do.
No.
So let's talk about that before we get out of here today. Let's talk about credit. Why is it so important as a real estate agent or an investor to have good credit too?
I mean, to get rich, I feel like you have to use other people's money.
You do?
You have to use other people's money. I've used other people's money and it's worked out.
Mm-hmm.
So having good credit to leverage your capital is very key.
Yeah, it is. And so hard money, your rate's going to get better. The better your credit is.
Better.
Yeah, if you don't want to pay 3 points or 4 points and 12% interest, you better have good credit.
Yep.
You don't want to pay 6% on your long-term rentals, you'd better have good credit. Yeah, we'll lend to you if you have shitty credit. It's almost not complete shit credit. But if your credit's 660, yeah, you can get a loan, but you're not going to get your rate.
Exactly.
And so yeah, I think that's a huge misconception that, especially in today's market, man, with the razor thin margins that fix and flippers are going on, if you're paying 12% interest versus someone like me who can get 7.99 on a fix and flip, I'm going to win that bid over you because I'm going to make more money. I can hold it for even an extra month or two and not hurt me where it's killing you at 12% interest. So yeah, man. Anything else you'd like to say before we get out of here today?
Just keep your eyes on the prize, keep your head down, hustle hard, and show up, show out.
That's why he's a good figure. He likes the hustle mentality. I like it.
I do. I've always been a hustler, man.
Yeah, I think that's a bigger thing that people miss is that you can't just get your real estate license or just say I'm going to be an investor without putting in the work, man.
And there's people out there where they sell their $1 million listings and whatnot, and they make their their money and whatnot. But you don't need to sell multi-million-dollar listings to make good money.
No, you don't.
At all.
No, it's yeah. I mean, and the thing with the multi-million-dollar listings, I know they're a little bit easier to find now because the market's gone crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to last forever.
It's not.
It's not going to last forever. And those deals typically take a lot longer to close. Where you and I can close a $250,000 deal in weeks, versus them taking months and months and months. It's the velocity to capital, right?
Exactly.
The faster you can turn things, the more money you get to make it. That's just how it works, guys.
Yep.
All right, Keandre, thanks, man, for coming in today.
Thanks for
really
having
good
me,
stuff, man. So if you guys, again, if you haven't found good value from Keandre, you can reach out to all his contact information is in the show notes of the show on YouTube here or on whatever podcast medium you're looking or listening to. Reach out to him. I'm sure he'd be able to help you guys get started. And you can find out more information about Outfast Realty and what we're doing here as well in the show notes. And we'll see you guys in the next episode of the Closers Corner podcast. Out.
Deuces.
Back.